What's up guys, Phantom here, back with episode 39 of my F1 2019 career mode, as we are going to Suzuka for round 17 of season 2.
Welcome to the only figure of 8 track on the F1 calendar. We're here at Suzuka for qualifying today ahead of the Japanese Grand Prix. So then, Ant, it's another Grand Prix weekend, another exciting qualifying session ahead of us. What are you going to be looking out for over the next few minutes?
The first question is going to be who can avoid making mistakes. There isn't much margin for error in qualifying, and you have to bear in mind that the track conditions may have changed since practice, particularly as we've had a few support races in the meantime. If the brake bias settings, for example, don't take this into account, it's extremely easy to lock up a front wheel and cause a flat spot. Just like that, your lap's ruined, and you've wasted a set of tyres to boot.
As we start out here in Q2 after making it through Q1 pretty easily, and we did not have a repeat of Russia where it rained and we were knocked out in Q1, only for the third time in our career, as we are starting our flying lap here on the front stretch as always, as we go a little bit wide into turn 1 and 2 here complex, as we go through 130R here into the chicane where Senna and Prost had their famous incident, as we get a very good run as we kind of clip the grass twice there. But we were going to come across to finish P9, which is good enough to get in, but not good enough was Butler, who was knocked out in Q2 and P11 there, as the Haas is not very good around this track. As we move on to Q3 here, as we slow down to try to give us a little bit distance here on Vettel, but Leclerc is right behind us, as he's going to get our slipstream down the front stretch and down the back stretch, as we're going to try to break the slipstream as much as possible on here to make sure he didn't get a very good lap in. And he should be pretty slow through the middle sector, as he is right on us, as he's kind of followed us in the slipstream. We were not able to break him away, as it looks like we will clearly not have a faster lap than Leclerc, but at the end of it we will be in P8, and Leclerc, barely over his teammate Vettel, will have pole, as we will move on to the race.
And a very warm welcome to the Japanese Grand Prix, an event that has decided a Drivers' Championship 11 times over the years and has hosted some very memorable races as well. Who can forget Kimi Raikkonen's win from 17th on the grid in 2005, or Kamui Kobayashi's incredible drive to a podium in 2012. A lap of this historic racetrack covers 3.6 miles, and it's the only time during the season that we race on a figure-of-8 racetrack. The drivers can expect some intense G-forces through the 18 corners on offer here, as they experience some of the highest average apex speeds on the Formula One calendar. And keep an eye out for overtakes going into the final chicane. Anthony Davidson is here once again for today's Grand Prix. So I should probably start by asking you about Lucas Weber. As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to a power unit component change. So it's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and starting alongside in P2 is Sebastian Vettel. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Verstappen, Valtteri Bottas, and Norris, a Haas, Raikkonen, Sainz, and Devon Butler, Perez, Kvyat, Kevin Magnussen, and Hulkenberg, Ricciardo, Weber. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Antonio Giovinazzi and George Russell, Stroll, and Alexander Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
As we sit here on the grid in P7 after Weber's penalties, his 10 place penalty. We are up in 7th, and we get a good initial launch here on Norris as he's still a little bit ahead of us. So we're going to allow him to get in line, be a little bit nice, as there's automatically a yellow caution flag at turn 1, which there will be many, as right behind us as Raikkonen gets pinched by Sainz and our teammate Butler hits the wall and loses a good chunk of his end plate and will be all the way back down to last. As we are still on lap 1, we are coming up to the hairpin, and we will perform a Kobayashi type dive on Norris and Bottas, but Bottas gives us the squeeze on the apex of the corner there, as we did come from a long way back, as Norris is going to get a run down this backstretch and a run 30R. We're going to kind of squeeze him out there as we get a warning for track extending. As we come on the lap 3 here, Giovinazzi is going to try to make a move down the inside of, I think that is Russell, as he will come off a lot worse as he spins all the way around, as both Alfa Romeos are in last and second to last, as Butler is charging on us here on lap 4 as we go way too far in on the chicane, as we even cut it, but we still don't get a very good run out of there as Butler's way too close to us, as he's going to make an easy sweep around our outside, as that is no challenge, as he will always, as an AI, basically make that corner, so we can't come back at him. Maybe later in the race, but later on that lap, well, behind us, as it looks like Weber and one of the Racing Points, which I think is Lance Stroll, may contact there on lap 1 as our teammates going into the pits, as we are going in the pits at the end of this lap, as Norris is going to attack us down the front stretch here, and we're going to go defensive and make sure he has to go around our outside, which will end up trying to force him out there as we squeeze him out, as we are able to make the move. But earlier on this lap, coming right ahead of us, Hamilton attacked Vettel, and again, I don't know what it is with the AI, they keep having these incidents as we come into the pits to make our one and only pit stop, as we were going to put on the mediums, as our pit stop is going to be a 2.2 as Norris came in with us, as he luckily did not jump us, as our teammate Butler will be coming out of the pits, as you will see him there, as he is barely going to be ahead of us. Barely. We could have maybe a second or a half a second, we could have got ahead of him, but on the end of this lap, on the backstretch here, we are attacking him as we're going to go around the outside here, and we make contact as we kind of meet in the middle there, as we force him to go in tight, and we're going to get the run off the corner here around the outside.
For your teammate, there's little satisfaction to be had in overtaking like that.
As Jeff lets us know that we probably shouldn't be hitting our teammate, as we kind of try to break his slipstream down the front stretch as he cannot attack us. But after all that, Leclerc has won the race, as we will come home in 6th position, as our championship rival Hamilton will finish 5th and Vettel will finish 3rd on the podium.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
That's a fantastic performance from Ferrari. It hardly looked in doubt. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there. So let's review the updated driver's standings. Despite the best efforts of our championship leader, that lead has taken a bit of a knock today. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
My driver of the day was Devon Butler. He did an amazing job pushing through the field, cementing his growing reputation for ruthlessly running down those top positions.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. The current championship leaders still hold top spot, but that gap is getting smaller. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.